All right, you guys. So I got a very special guest with me today. He goes by the name of Troy D. Williams. He's coming out of Orlando, Florida. He's an actor and a retired semi-professional football player. How you doing, Troy?
Hey man, how's it going, Troy?
Great to have you.
Hey, it's great to be here, man. Thank you for having me on. I played semi-professional football for a couple of years. That was back from 2010 through 2012. And then I got into acting a little over 5 years ago now.
Nice, man. Why did you stop football? Was it because of an injury, or you just decided to change courses? You aged out of it?
So semi-pro is a little bit different. Typically with semi-pro, you don't make like a lot of money doing that. So you still have to have a job or career outside of that. So, football is one of those careers where it has like an expiration date. Once you get older, slower, your reflexes are not the same. You just kind of have to make that decision, So my goal was to try to either get to arena football or the NFL. But, I went to a couple of tryouts, just wasn't good enough at that point to get in because I was like 26, 27 at the time. So, when you're competing against 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds that are like in their athletic prime, it's like it's hard to stand out, if you're not more so speed wise. They look at speed, like 40 time is very important with the position I played. So my 40 time has slipped up a lot.
Absolutely. Like you said, you're interacting with other athletes in their early 20s, 18, 17. It's so hard to compete when you're out there. You got to already start planning for other things. So that's nice, man. That's awesome. So you transitioned pretty smoothly, though. Did you already have that plan laid out? Did you do a couple of things in between, or did you go straight from football to acting? Did you already just lay the plan out and make your moves from there?
No. So, like I said, I was already working like in corporate America while I was still playing semi-pro. So I still had the career there. So once I finished playing football, it was just kind of focus on the career, maybe go into like upper management or something like that. But that didn't pan out. So then, I kind of got to a point where, I was kind of tired of chasing the dollar bill, and I needed something that could give me that same adrenaline rush that football did. So acting was something that I always wanted to do, as a kid, secretly kind of wanted to do that. But the opportunity kind of presented itself, and I decided to dive in head first. I was 30 years young at the time, and I'm like, hey, if I'm going to jump in, now is the time. So that's kind of where I was with it. But I still work in corporate America as well. So I do acting outside of that. I work that around that calendar. So.
Yeah, well, for people who don't know, that aren't in the acting business, you got to have a job in between, because sometimes the jobs are far and few in between. Sometimes you get a lot, but you got to have a way to make a living, so most actors have jobs. So nice, man. So you've been loyal to the same corporate job you've been with. So you're making the appropriate moves.
Yeah, and see, my path was a little bit different from a lot of actors. So a lot of actors, a lot of times it's just them. Like they start a little bit younger, so it's just them. Me, I had when I decided to get into it, I had a wife and 3 kids. So I couldn't just typically as an actor, if you're chasing the acting dream, you want to do like a job that's like maybe a waiter or Uber driver, somewhere where you have flexibility. You kind of create your own schedule so you can get to those auditions. Whereas me, I had to keep the stability. You have to think about things like insurance for the family and stuff like that. So I couldn't just walk away, and just because I have this big audition, so I have to kind of be strategic with how I move towards it. But I feel like the opportunities are getting bigger. The auditions are getting bigger. So I just have to keep training and make sure I'm ready, when those opportunities present themselves.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And besides that, though, it's prior to that, you were in semi-pro football. So you already have that discipline, that work ethic that it kind of takes to transition into that same business, same mentality. You just move it on over. A lot of athletes have that discipline, and you made it pretty far up. So you got that work ethic.
Yeah, I mean, it's important, man. The work ethic is everything. I think we kind of live in a world now where you're starting to get, a lot of people who think that they can just build up a big social media following and then they decide they want to be an actor so they can get it. Those people are getting opportunities, but the art is being lost, if that makes sense. Like you're not seeing actors training anymore. So quality work is something that can never be substituted for. So I've been training now for 2 years. Every week, I'm training. So, I just want to constantly continue to sharpen my skills and just stay true to my craft,
There you go.
I
There you go.
long-term.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Cool. I didn't mean to interrupt you in the middle of you saying that. It's cool that you're saying that a lot of actors don't do that training thing, and you, because you were an athlete, you're like, I gotta train, man. I can't just show up game day with no training.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. See, so for me, it's just natural. It's like you have to train, and then you train, and then you study the game film to see what you need to tighten up on, your areas that you can improve on, what you're doing good, so that's really what it comes down to for me. So training it's just a part of my life, it never left, even when I left football.
Nice, man. That's awesome. So where are you training at the moment? Are you training at a theater?
No, so I take a class. I train, the class I take is Life of an Actor. We have my coach is a SAG actor himself. He's part of the union, Chris Green. And basically we have class every week. And, he teaches us a lot, man. Just it's different phases. You have to graduate to different phases of the class. But the thing I like about him the most is he works with you until you're ready to leave him, if you know what I mean. Like some of these acting classes, it's like 6 weeks. You have a 6-week class, you have a 12-week class, and then hey, but it's like the continued training. He kind of meets you at the level that you are, and he elevates you. And before you can go into that next level, you have to prove that you have those disciplines down that you learned, in the beginning. So it's like it's a constant progression. So yeah,
that's what you want. That's what you want. Somebody that's really going to focus in on you, not just a widespread thing. Because you go out there and you need somebody that's going to work with you. That's awesome. And is it a small class, small group of people?
Yeah, it's pretty small. And during the pandemic, we've been doing the classes through Zoom or whatnot. But we just last week we just had our first back in-person class. So it's about
nice.
usually about 10 to 12 students in there per session. So, things are definitely growing, but a lot of the actors that are in there, man, have been like on major productions. So it's like you have like the benefit that we get. You have some actors who are just starting off. Then you have some who've been in the industry for a while and who've worked with some of the top actors. Wow. Like for instance, Chris, the coach, he's been in a lot of big stuff, man. He's in the new The Conjuring movie. He's in that. He's in the trailer and everything. I'm like, that's so cool. He's been on Queen of the South, like you name it. So
when you got a coach that's in the business and he's still even like that, he's in the business, he's actively in it. He's got
absolutely, and then he keeps it real with us. He's real with us. So if we come to work and if we come to class and he knows that we haven't put the time in to studying our scenes and our performance are flat, he'll get on us for that, man. It's only because he knows that we're selling ourselves short. So he holds us accountable to being professionals in all walks through the industry.
Nice, man. Nice. That's awesome, man. So do you have any advice for any athletes out there who are trying to figure it out when they're transitioning into their careers? You found acting, how did you sometimes it's a rough patch, you hear about it all the time. You have one passion and you go all in for so many years, you work towards it, you build yourself up, you become an absolute professional. Like you said, your issue was only that it's in between, you were so talented, but then there's so much competition and so much at stake. And you were able to just transition all that and keep moving with life and take all that stuff with you. At the end of the day, we want to move with the tools we have and keep applying them to stuff, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, the advice I would give to athletes that are transitioning, first I would say, if you're going in the world of athletics, just in that realm, you have to know that that's something that, same with acting, like that's something that only a few people make it to that top level, so being that, I'm not saying to have a backup plan in the sense of like, you're not going to give it your all, or as soon as you hit some adversity that you just bail out. I'm not saying like that, but you do need to know that, your athletic prime is only going to be so long, then you're dealing with politics, like maybe this person like coached at a college that this other athlete went to, but you may be a better athlete, but because they know them, they may give them a spot on the roster versus you. So just knowing that, I would say just always, you need to have a backup plan, but find something that you're passionate about, something that you don't really necessarily think about the dollar bill, but something that moves you, because that's what I think a lot of football players, it's funny that you say that because you're absolutely right. When many professional athletes like leave the sport, I think some of them go into a state of depression because it's like you're constantly having people cheering for you, sold out stadiums. It's like that's a reality to these people. So it's like after football, that's what everyone knows you for. So now who am I? So I think it's more so finding that identity. So I would just say find something you're passionate about. If I would have gone the pro route and made it to that level, what I would have done is I would have transitioned into like being like a sports analyst, like a commentator, like ESPN, something like that, sort of my own, because it still keeps me in the game, in the sport, but now just kind of giving my expertise, but I'm still around the game. So it's still my passion, so that's what I would transition into if I would have gone the pro route, because I would have had the networking and the connections to make that smooth transition.
Now, how does football play a role in your life today?
So I think just all in the preparation, just the preparation, man. I think that's something that helped me have success really fast in this industry. It's just the preparation, and then like leaving your ego at the door, like whenever I work with, whenever I come on a movie set or if I'm working with a new director, or even when I went to class and I first started taking classes, I let my coach know, or my director know, hey, I want to do a great job at this. Let's collaborate. I have no ego. If there's something that you need me to change, please don't hesitate to tell me that. Because the last thing I need is a bunch of yes people around me that are, letting me feel like I know what I'm doing. And then it's like, I'm not giving the best that I could. So it's like, just communicate. So I say I have no ego, leave the ego at the door, which is what you do in sports. Everything is about team. And, just understanding that the acting thing is all about team as well. With the production, the director, the producers, your fellow actors that you're working with, it's a team effort. So I guess I just kind of always focus on team and just kind of leaving ego at the door. And that really helps to have success, and it opens up the doors for communication.
That's a huge thing, man. That team work ethic, and then just trusting the coach, knowing that the process is true. You put in that time, that effort, that work, and it all comes together in one good process.
Absolutely.
That's awesome, man. And not to mention, with respects to all that, you also have a family that you're supporting on top of all of this. So it's just real inspirational to hear your story, man, because you got a lot you're holding on to. You got a lot of weight you're carrying behind you, and you look like you're just dancing on ice right now.
Hey man, there's never a dull moment, man. Never a dull moment. Like right now, my sons are playing Little League football. My oldest, he just turned 12. My middle son, he's 8. He'll be 9 here. And then my baby girl, she's 4. She's doing gymnastics. So it's like they keep us busy.
Nice.
But, they're having a good time, and I'm happy because for the past year, they didn't play any sports or anything with pandemic and all the scare. I just didn't feel safe putting them in anything. So now, they're having a good time, but it's like it's a busy schedule though. Very busy schedule.
Is the team mentality, right? I bet you guys are just one big team, though. It all works out.
Absolutely.
Very nice.
We all support each other.
Very nice, man. That's awesome, man. That's real awesome. Gone over your we'll talk a little bit about some productions you got in the works right now too. You got anything we can promote?
Yeah. I'll be filming. I'm so excited, man. I'll be getting on set May 15th, man, because the pandemic, it just had everything so slow.
Everybody was itching to get something.
Yeah, like all the productions were shutting down. I had, like, right before that happened, I had some really big auditions, and I think I was up for some of those roles. Like I said, I can't say what they were because just exclusivity. But I was right up there, and then everything just shut down. So then, because I'm
Man,
in Florida, being in Florida kind of hurts you a lot with all the productions being in like Atlanta or like LA, because they typically, when the pandemic happened, they went straight local. They only cast local. So it like pretty much just did me in, man.
you know what, man? But I've heard the same about certain other places that are filming. I've heard a lot of places like that are shooting. They're like, we don't want any LA talent because we don't want to fly them out and have to deal with all the. At the same time, this is complicated right now. But I hear what you're saying, man. I was going to ask you that. You answered my question, but I was going to say Miami, Florida is pretty active. Miami's got a lot of things taking place, but I was going to say the closest hub with the film industry is thankfully Atlanta, right? Atlanta's taking off, and that's not that far, but that's still you got to put a little extra work to get your jobs because the entertainment central of the world is LA, and then you got New York. Not a lot's happening in New York right now, so you're putting in all that work, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, Atlanta is definitely where it's at, man. They call it the Hollywood of the East Coast, man. It's even a lot of the big LA productions, they shoot them there in Atlanta now.
Right?
So with that though, it's good, but it's basically like I guess it's almost like a catch-22, right? Like it's good because there's so many productions and it's closer to here to Florida, but because there's so many productions, you're having like the competition now has gone way up.
Right.
You had even a lot of like LA actors are getting in on the productions in Atlanta. So it's like a gold mine, to film in Atlanta. So it's but that's where it's at though. That's ultimately where I want to be at. Not sure if I
Absolutely.
really want to relocate to move there, but that's where all the productions that I want to be a part of, most of them are like in that area. So, I just keep auditioning for those.
So you're happy with staying in Florida? You plan to stay in Florida and just keep making your moves and getting these jobs from Atlanta, and when these big ones come, you'll fly out there when needed. But you want to stay in Florida.
That's kind of how it is now because like the industry has changed a lot, right? Especially with the pandemic. Like before, you used to have to go places to audition, right? Like you would have to go there like to audition, and then if they wanted you for a callback, they bring you in again. So you'd have to physically go there. Now
Right.
the whole world is like self tapes. It's self tape. So you just tape. I have my own equipment here. I have a couple of guys I use here in Orlando who have like professional studios. So it's like you now can do a nice self tape where now you get to shoot it as many times as you need to until you're happy with what you produced. And now you
Absolutely.
can send that in. So really, it's like everything actors are being booked off of self tapes now, without ever having to go in to a casting office. So I mean, you really could be wherever as long as your skill set is there. And like all I really need is that one opportunity. I actually got on the Fatal Attraction show. I was able to book
Man,
that over the pandemic, which was huge. They film all of those shows like in Knoxville, Tennessee. So
really?
I just happened to be in that area at the time, like family and I were over there. So I was like, because they were only casting people that were in a 30-mile radius of that area. So they weren't letting anyone come in from out of town, not even other cities in Tennessee. So you had to be kind of close to that area. But one of the
Man,
castings came up, and I kind of resembled the guy a little bit, the killer dude, So I submitted to it, and then they booked me for it, and then that aired on TV1 back in November. Patrick, I shot it over the summer of last year, but then it aired in November, and that thing got so many views, man. It was like I did not know so many people watch those shows. It
absolutely.
was
Got a big audience.
I didn't realize that, because I personally don't like watching stuff like that. I'm like, these are kind of real stories. It's like, I kind of feel bad. Like,
And but a lot of people watch those, man. There's a huge audience for that stuff. I hear it's like women and I forget the exact, but I think more women watch those things. But there's an audience for it. Who knows what the audience is? But they got
absolutely.
a big audience. They always make those. I used to watch those Miami's Most Wanted and stuff.
Yep, yep, yep.
That's nice, man. That's awesome. So that came out in November. So that's pretty recent.
Yeah. That was huge. And then I had a small role in an indie film that actually is taken off now. It's called Secret Society. I actually went down to Miami to film that one. That was also over the summer of last year as well. But that one
Nice.
just hit Amazon Prime, maybe 2 weeks ago? It's on Amazon Prime, and within 2 weeks, it's like now it was like number 5 in all of Amazon Prime. Like it's buzzing right now The
Man,
film
that's
is
awesome,
amazing.
man. Taking off.
Yeah, so it's like it's number 5 on Amazon Prime. I couldn't believe it. I didn't know the film would do that big, you know, like, but they do have Vivica Fox in there. Vivica Fox is on there. Trey Chaney. What's the dude named Jeremy Meeks? You know the guy Jeremy Meeks?
Yep.
He got famous off of his mugshot, and I think he's actually one of those guys that is actually training and putting in the work as well. You know, so yeah, man, it was cool. But a lot of big names in that film.
Yeah. No, I mean to interrupt it once again, man. It's inspirational to see when, you know, people make a comeback, right? The comeback is always inspirational too. We all have chances to make it back in life and make our moves. So that's awesome, man. That's real cool, man. Let's bring it back to you, man. So you're making it big, man. You're making moves. You got indie films, you got things on television, and you're still actively just out. You're out there ready for jobs. And you, like you said, before the pandemic, you had a lot of things ready to go. And then I thought about that too. I said, you know, a lot of people, I was talking to my friends and said, you know, a lot of people probably had jobs lined up and it would have been the biggest year of their lives. And then it was like, boom, that momentum loss, and they have to rebuild that. Not only did we go through momentum, we went pandemic, we went through like a momentum loss that we have to rebuild. You know,
Right.
You had a lot of stuff lined up, and then now it's like, all right, man, back to the drawing board.
Yeah, pretty much, man. It was like I said, a lot of blessings came out of that year in disguise, you know, because like I said, I was able to shoot over the summer. I was able to shoot 2 of the biggest projects that I've been a part of, you know, so I was able to get those done. But yeah, as far as like the consistent work and like all the big shows and things with the major networks, yeah, those are all like shut down. So what I did do though is I actually launched my own production company in 2020, Thoroughbred Films. LLC, and like with that, you know, I'm able to produce, you know, focus on the producing side. So I now have my own talk show, which is Limelight Conversations. So I kind of do what you do here, you know, like but one of the things I'm old school, so we actually go to whoever we're interviewing, right?
Nice.
And then we form this nice production. I think eventually I'm going to start doing like IG Live or Facebook Live interviews with people as well, just to help, you know, share my platform and get and shine a light on other people as well.
Nice. We get the name of that show again.
It's Limelight Conversations. So yeah, it's streaming on YouTube. So people can just search me, Troy D. Williams, on YouTube, and they'll see my channel. It's on there. And then I also have it on Facebook, my public page. I put all the episodes on there. So it's also under Troy D. Williams, Thoroughbred Films. But yeah, the show is all about inspiration, you know, just talking to people who are successful in whatever field that they're in. And, you know, we get intimate, man. We get intimate. We dive in and, you know, like people's story. It's just a show that brings hope, you know, so many people lost hope during the pandemic. Absolutely. So it's like to see that you can go through so much adversity and still, you know, rise to the top. So that's really what the show is all about. So I talk to real people, you know, and we get into it, man. We get intimate. So.
Real people, real conversations.
Absolutely, man. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Check them out, you guys. Check out the show, Limelight Conversations, right?
Yep, that's right.
All right, sounds good to me, man. How can we find you on social media, Troy?
So just on Instagram, which is my main handle, it's actor Troy D. Williams 941. Same thing on Facebook for my public page. For my regular page on Facebook, just type in Troy D. Williams. And then on Twitter, it's actor Troy Williams 941. Man, I appreciate you having me. Thank you for reaching out. And yeah, man, the pleasure's been all mine, man. Thank you.
Hey, man, same to you. I appreciate you, and I'm happy to call you my friend now. And let's get you on again in the future, man. We'll follow up.
Hey, anytime. Just reach out, man.